Hello and welcome to Chow Time. I am Spike Spencer, your host, and today we are zipping off to Italia. You gotta speak with your hand like this, seriously. We are gonna be doing arancini today. Arancini is basically leftover risotto balls stuffed with cheese and deep fried. Can't go wrong with that, right? So I have risotto here. So this is old risotto that I made yesterday. It's not old. But we are going to get our hands messy on this one. This is a fun one to do with kids if you got them. So just like if you're doing like fried rice, it's always good to use the rice from the day before. Well, this is the same situation because we are taking this rice, this risotto, and we're making balls. We're making some smaller balls like this. So we make a ball out of the risotto like that. So about that size is good. Then there's a little hole in the middle like that. We come over here, and I've got a little mozzarella, and we roll that up over, push that in, roll it up over, close it in, all good. A little bit here, a little bit there. And what I'm going to do, I'm warming up oil over here. It's a little bit hot right now, so I'm going to go as fast as I can. But once we get the arancini, the ball like that, we're going to put it in flour. And this is a way that I'm going to show you guys on I'm sure I'm going to do other shows, but if you're going to deep fry, flour first, then egg, which I have not whipped up yet. So I need to whip up that egg real quick. There we go. Whip that egg a little bit. Okay. There we go. We whip that egg, and then, so we put the arancini, which now has a covering of flour, which, I'm going to take that off right now. It's getting hot. Give that a minute. Take the egg. There we go. A little smoky. And that smoke point. We don't want that. So, calming that down. All right, so we have some flour, egg, and then breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs. We drop that in there. One tip is to always keep one hand out of the goo, if you can, because you will end up with mitts. Just covered goo mitts. It's very bizarre. So a good way to go about this, which I could have done earlier, but, I don't always plan these things so well, is take the arancini and make all the balls ahead of time. I didn't do that because I wanted to chat with you guys and show you what I'm doing. So I'm taking the risotto, just a handful of risotto, and we do this, we just repeat the process. Now, arancini, very, very popular in Italy. It's especially Sicily. Wow, that is really getting hot. I took it off the heat, and it is still going. We are going to have some serious deep frying going here in a second. But let's get this around. Add a little bit of rice on the edges if you have to. There we go. There we go. You want to try to make sure that is as encompassed in there as possible, so that whenever you bite into the arancini, that cheese is nice and melted in the middle. And all this, it's going to be nice, golden brown and beautiful. GBT! Golden brown, delicious is what we're shooting for here. Okay, well, egg cover. This is also called an egg wash, if you've ever heard that. You roll around in this. You could do, this is the exact same process I would do for tonkatsu. You can do chicken katsu, pork katsu, especially if you use panko breadcrumbs, which I think are the best breadcrumbs to use, but sometimes you don't want that feel. For here right now, I'm using panko, but I'm using gluten-free panko. And the reason I'm using gluten-free panko is because my family does mostly gluten-free. And but the gluten-free panko, you'll see it's like oddly bulbous. Does that make sense? It's kind of round and funky. So I put it in my my grinder and pulse it down so it's not quite as bulbous and thick, because the actual gluten panko breadcrumbs are awesome. I do gluten, but the panko breadcrumbs, there's nothing that is as good as far as I'm concerned. I haven't found anything yet. So We're gonna knock out a few of these. I'm gonna just do these 3 right now, and let's just go ahead and get them fired up. Fired up, y'all, fired up. Show you the cooking process. You don't have to do it in a pan. I'm doing it in a pan because I'm gonna kind of deep fry them. You can pan sear them, but I prefer to do it in a deeper pot for a couple of reasons. One, there's going to be some splatter, so we know that going in. There's going to be splatter. The other reason is that the arancini will keep its shape better if it's submerged in more oil rather than on a flat pan. And now, remember how I told you to try to keep one hand dry? I have failed miserably at that. So this is what it looks like when you, yeah. Okay, so once you get that stuff on your hands, it is hard to get off, let me tell you. All right, so we are at about 350 degrees. That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to drop these in, and we're going to start those cooking, and then I'll work on the sauce. Their sauce is going now. Here we go. All right, let's see how we're doing. Turn that down a little bit. I've never deep fried with this particular induction oven, so I'm a little cautious. You want to drop these in. There we go. You can hear it's already starting to bubble. So I can drop these in, and I'm okay. There we go. And I only have about a half inch, 3/4 inches of oil in there. And I have a handy dandy, this is a candy thermometer. This is what I use always on my oil. I just pop it in there, and it sits, and it tells me how hot everything is. So this is at about 325. I should have got it up to 350, but we're going to crank it up a little higher. So we want to get it about 350, 375 is a good rate. And the thing about deep frying, you want to make sure that it is at that temperature when you drop it in. So I dropped it in maybe a little bit early, but it'll work out. I just have to bring it up. And when you drop things into the hot oil, that temperature is going to go down. So you want to crank it up a little bit higher and keep an eye on what you're doing, because these things will cook fast. They can cook fast. It depends on, like I say, what your heat is and what all you've got going on. You turn away and then you're like, I have blackened arancini. Is there anything worse than blackened arancini? I don't know. So for a sauce, a classic sauce for an arancini is the marinara sauce. Now, I've done a show on marinara, so I highly recommend you check that out. But we'll just do a quick marinara sauce over here, which is nothing more than some canned tomatoes. I got some fire roasted, lovely tomatoes. I'll throw in a little seasoning. I'll put in some basil for sure. Get that in there. Nice bit of basil. Love the basil. Basil's very nice. You can call it basil if you like. If you want to be like, more proper. I don't. So, and then I've got this. Some garlic, fresh garlic. I love fresh garlic on most things. Every now and then I'll use powdered garlic. But I try to use fresh garlic as much as possible, because it's just so dang good. I'm going to smack it down a little bit and give it a chop. It doesn't have to be a perfect chop. It doesn't have to be super, super thin, because for this sauce, all we're going to do is throw it in. We're going to let that warm up a bit, and we're going to mix it. Easy peasy. All right, we're getting some browning on these bad boys, so I'm going to give them a little roll, a little flip over. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look at you. You're so pretty. You are so pretty. How do you feel about yourself? Do you feel pretty? You are. You really are. There you go. Let's get a little bit of a flat bottom on that one. That's okay. Let's roll it over. Baby, baby, baby. Right there. They are looking really nice. Okay, I've got a good heat going. I'm going to temper my heat just a hair, because there's a lot of fluctuation. Keep an eye on that. I'm going to hit my marinara sauce with a little salt. Put a little pepper in there. Give it a little grind with what? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my favorite, and you know what that is. My baby boat motor! Yes! Let's get in there and mix this bad boy up a little bit. I'm gonna hopefully not get it all over my shirt. There we go. You can leave it chunky if you want, but this is a good sauce for arancini. Good stuff around there. So I don't have a whole deep pot here. So I'm going kind of a bit at a time. See any chunks? I hit them. Because a nice smooth sauce is going to go really well with the arancini. Now I'm listening to it. It sounds like it's cooking a little bit higher than I want. So let's drop that down a hair. Yeah, it's going up. Okay. I'm going to drop that down. Get these moving a little bit. Nice. We got browning on the edges here. So I take that off the heat, and the oil is still hot, so it's not a problem. I'm just moving around because there was a little bit of middle ground where these were, yeah, not quite brown. And it's going to keep going. Great. I'll turn that completely off. That one is going lovely. Turn that one off. There we go. Ooh, nice. Nice sauce. I'll give the sauce a little taste. Oh, it's beautiful. That was beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to take these out, and I will put them on a paper towel. Let some of that oil get out. There we go. Nice. 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 Look at these guys. All right, so now it's time to plate these bad boys. Now what I would do is we'll have some marinara sauce in a little side dish. It's a nice red color, so I'm going to put it in a nice blue plate here. Let's get some of that sauce in here. And if you wanted to, you could always put the sauce underneath and just kind of, serve them like that. Some people might want to dip it. That is a beautiful marinara sauce right there. If I do say so myself. Got a nice little chunkiness to it, which I'm fine with. So I put 1, 2, 3 of these bad boys on a plate. I'm going to cut into one in a second, but I got to show you. I got to take a picture of this because it's so beautiful. With a little bit of this here. A little green. Ladies and gentlemen, that is arancini. Bite into it. There's going to be some nice cheese in there, the risotto, all the rice. So let's do that. But I want to make sure you saw this, the finished dish. And let me see if we can cut one of these bad boys down just perfectly. So we can get that. Come on now. Be good to me. All right. So what it looks like, a little bit of melted cheese in there. It's melting down the side. And you dip that in that. Oh man, that's good. The cheese is melting in. Cheese is melting into the rice as well, the risotto. So this is really great. You dip it into the marinara sauce, and you got yourself an excellent appetizer. So I'm gonna put this on the side here like that. We're gonna say, all right, that's how it looks. That's what we're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you, oh, so good. Arancini, not difficult. Once you make the risotto, which is incredibly easy, watch the other video. I'm sure you can watch it right now. And then the next day, this is what you got. It's perfect. Arancini, mwah, I love it. Thank you so much for joining me here on Chow Time. Let's eat.